we all know that Tipper has spent many years working on mental health issues, and this is obviously particularly close to her because there is a mental health crisis going on in America with our gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender teens. I wanted to share with you that many of you who know me know that I recognize that religion is probably the number one reason that people use to justify their discriminating against the LGBT community. And I've been, for a couple of years now, when I started Faith in America, going around and talking to reporters and producers and on-air talent, and just kind of doing behind-the-scenes work, getting them to understand, connecting the dots of the history of discrimination in America, and getting them to understand the harm that is truly being caused to a lot of people. And I was at Union Station having coffee with a reporter from a southeastern, pretty much group of newspapers, and the interview started out really well because he sat down and said, "Oh, I have 4 of your leather chairs. The only thing my wife and I agree on." And but during the course of the interview, he said to me, I don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. You're spending a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of energy. And why are you doing this? And without really thinking much, I looked at him and said, I don't want one more gay teenager to go through what I went through. And I spoke about the isolation and fear and how scared I was every day of my teenage years. And my constant thoughts of suicide. I used to call it the black cloud. Whenever I would be happy with my family or friends and think that everything was going okay, then I would remember that I had this insurmountable problem that I couldn't deal with. And when I finished and looked up at the reporter and the other people with me, they all had tears in their eyes, and the reporter said to me, "I had no idea." And it was at that moment that I realized there are a lot of good people in this country. And my factory is around a lot of those good people who are Southern Baptists or Fundamentalist Protestant, Methodist. They are good people. I don't want anybody in this room to hate the people that give us such an incredibly hard time. But they don't know the pain and the ramifications of their teachings and what it's doing in America. And I walked out of that meeting and I said to myself, we have got to communicate. And we can't let people only think that our quest for full and equal rights is about whether or not we get Social Security benefits, whether we get hospital visitation, whether we can adopt children. All of those things are incredibly important. All of them are incredibly important. But I think the issue that really has to rise to the top is to let people know who wish to deprive us of full and equal rights. This is a window and voice for those gay and lesbian teenagers in America to speak out about the pain that's being caused to them. And I want to take a moment and introduce to you Scott Shepard, not to embarrass him, but Scott is the reporter that I spoke to that day. And his simple question, and often people lead by asking the right questions, but his simple question led me on a journey that I'll tell you in my life. One of the best things I've ever done in my life is with Bob to open a daycare center and to give 77 children a great start in life. But this is a project that I go to bed now and really have a smile on my face, and I celebrate the fact that I'm really optimistic. I will tell you in the last couple of weeks that the book has been out, when we've talked with people who are that important religious movable middle, this book is transformative to them. And I really would like you to think about something that happened to me some years ago. My parents always asked me what they can get me for my birthday. And I sent them a book, an autobiography that somebody had written, a gay guy. And I sent them the book and I said, for my birthday, what I would like is for you to read this book. That would be the greatest gift to me. And they read that book, and I went and visited a couple weeks later, and it changed my relationship with them. It made them really understand who I was and the pain that I had been caused, and that they were not there to support me. During my most difficult teenage years, they were not there for me. And they were devastated to know that they couldn't. I mean, that's what parents want to do. That's their natural instinct. They want to help and take care of their kids. They want to help their kids navigate through difficult teenage years, and they just didn't know it. And I'm not going to make a penny off of this book. Believe me, it's doing nothing but costing a lot of money. And we are giving the proceeds of it to 7 advocacy organizations that deal with teenagers. But I want to really encourage everybody that this year, for the holiday season, give this gift to somebody that needs to be transformed. Send this book to your high school. Send this book to the library that you grew up. And let's everybody send a book to Wasilla, Alaska. On our website, the next couple of days, we're going to have the address. I want thousands of I want them to have to answer for not putting that book out.
Amen.
So please think about doing that. But a project like this really came to life because people that I asked were so generous and shared their lives with us. And if all of you will just think for a second, talking about your most vulnerable moments, talking about a time when you really felt weak and you weren't as strong as you are today. Successful people don't dwell on the past. We don't think about that. We try to forget about the past and to move on. So to get contributors to speak out and put in words things that were really difficult for them, it's really very special that people, especially in the public eye, will put themselves out to do